Okay? Ayan. Okay, so we move on to the next. And I discussed this also. Every C program has a function main, and the main function executes some instructions. Okay, some statements in your program. Okay, that's it. Another one. So another there in solving problems, especially in programming, there are a lot of ways to have the same output. Tama? Like if you're solving some problem, there are a lot of ways to solve it. Hindi lang iisa yung way to solve it. So in this case, uh, I want to show you some other ways to print hello CE25. Okay? So again, I included the standard input output and this standard library. Okay? So int main. Again, the main uh, controls the execution. So it contains the instructions you want your computer to follow. Okay, so declaring I as an integer. We'll discuss more of this later. This one, char or car. Pero I call it char. Char character, no? Character siya. Hello. So hello 13. Ano tong 13 na ito? Hello tapos bracket 13. Ibig sabihin niyan, it contains 13 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay? So hello CE25 has 13 characters. And you name it as hello. Tapos dito, this is called a loop. Okay? We'll discuss more of this when we go to another module. But just for you to appreciate or just intuitively understand what's happening, sabi dito, for I equals 0, so nagsimula ako sa I equals 0, okay? After every I, and mag-end ako kapag naabot na ng I, itong, and I will continue to do the instructions inside the for loop as long as I is less than 13. And for every iteration, I will add 1 to I. Okay, understood? Ulitin ko. For, this is a for loop. I will begin at I equals 0 and I will do the instructions inside the for loop as long as I is less than 13. And for every iteration or for every repeat of the loop, I will add 1 to I. Okay, so what is the instruction inside the for loop? I will print %c or a substitute for a character or placeholder for a character, hello I. So again, bakit ako magsisimula sa 0? Remember that in C, okay, unlike natural numbers, the counting in C starts in 0. Okay, so what is hello 0? It's H. Okay, this is hello 0, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, hello 4. Ano yung last na exclamation point? Can anyone answer in chat? Ano yung label ng ano yung number for the last exclamation point? 12. Hello 12. Tama, no? So, ang last na number is hello 12. So, it makes sense that my instruction is hanggang less than 13 lang. Kasi pag naabot na ng I, yung 13, hindi na gagawin ng for loop yan. Okay? Yan, hanggang less than 13 lang. So, if you print this will print hello CE25. Okay? Ayan. So, let's move on. Another way to print hello CE25 is this. Again, I include the preprocessor directives. Ayan. So include the header file stdio.h and the standard library. Again, I declare an integer I and I print hello CE space. Okay? Yan, hello CE. Next, what I will do is I run a for loop. So this for loop runs from 0 and it will do the for loop as long as I is less than 9, and for every iteration of the loop, I will add 1 to I. Now this one, if. So if I is equal to 2. We will discuss this later, bakit dalawa yung equal sign. This one is or, okay, or I equals 5. Okay. Nag-philo naman kayo, no? So alam niyo yung pinagkaiba ng and or? Tama? Or hindi pa? So yung or statement, sinasabi niya na if either of this is true, yan, then it will perform the print of I. Okay? Then it will perform this statement. And after this for loop ends, then it will print the double exclamation mark. Okay? 2 exclamation marks. Ayan. So if I equal, so balik tayo. So na-print na yung hello, pupunta siya dito, magsisimula siya sa 0, is I equal to 2 or I equal to 5? No, so hindi niya ipiprint yun. Nababalik siya 1. Is I equals to or 5? No, hindi pa din. Ngayon, mag-add siya ng 1 ulit. So 2 na siya. Is I equals 2 or I equals 5? Yes, so it will print I. So it will do it for until as long as I equals 9, as long as I is less than 9, and then print double exclamation mark. So as you can guess, this is the program output. Naintindihan naman? Naintindihan? Guys? Yes. Ayan. So sagot-sagot lang tayo ha. Para you can also click yung sa may yes niyo. Ayan. So I can see. Okay. Build process. So in this part of the lecture, I want you to understand how a computer really translates high-level language to machine language. Ano ba yung high-level language? So, kung natin basahin to. Just focus on this one. A high-level language is a language that is human-like. Okay? A language that is human-like. So, yung mga kaninang ginagawa ko, if that is human-like. Like, di ba? For I equals 0, so until for I equals 0 and for I is less than 9 and add I for every iteration, do the printing. Ganun. So, it's a high-level language. It's very human-like. A human can understand it. As opposed to a machine language actually consists of just ones and zeros. Right? Narinig niyo na siguro yon na binary yung computer nyo. Tama? So, if it contains just ones and zeros, how do you translate it? Yan. What are the processes in order to translate the source code to an object code or into a machine language? Okay, yan. So this is the build process. You have a source file, what you label as C files. So yung suffix ng programs niya ay .c. Ito header files. So header files, as I've shown earlier, meron ng standard library files like stdlib, stdio.h. Okay? So those are header files. Also, you can make your own, and I will teach you in the later part of the SEM how to make your own. And the make file. So this, I think, hindi this make file is a sort of an automation, if you want to, in your programming. Pero this one is very useful if you have a lot of programs that you want to compile to each other. Okay, maybe I can teach you how to do this in the later part of the sim. But you can also search how to do this. Ayan, so we go to the preprocessor. So all of these things will go to the preprocessor. Yeah, and then it will go to a compiler and make object files O. And then it will link something. Ayan. It will link a library. It will link into libraries and make an executable file. And this executable file can be passed on to the loader. Sige, medyo abstract yung ideas, no? So maybe I can just show you what really happens using code. Sige, I'll stop sharing muna and open my environment. Ah, lang. Wait lang guys ah. I'll just okay. Wait lang. Sandali. Wait lang. There's some error. I'll just yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm ready to share. Okay, can you see my environment, guys? Yeah, okay. So here, I included a standard libraries, stdio.h. I also included math.h, okay? Math.h. Sige, add tayo ng new terminal. Yan. So, okay. Again, I have a main function. And then here, this is called a comment. So a comment is something that parang ano lang, parang notes nyo lang doon sa program nyo. It is not read by the computer. I will show you later what happens, okay? So I have this double. So this is a type like integer, but this double is like a decimal, okay? A decimal. So it can hindi siya integer, decimal siya. Okay, yun lang pinagkaiba. So double I equals 625. And then I will make, so I equal, in line 8, I will make I equal to the square root of I. So what happens there? Yung 625, ilalagay ko siya dito. So yung after this line 8, I will now be equal to, what is the square root of 625? 25, no? So ayan. So after line 8, yung I nyo will be now equal to 625. 225. I'm sorry. To 25. And then I will print this one, percent 0.0 LF. And it will print the I. Okay? Sige. Paglaruan natin itong code na ito so that you know what's happening more. Pero what I want to show you first is what is the build. What happens during the build. So in the terminal, this is what a preprocessor does. So in order to trigger the preprocessor, ayan, I will have -e. Okay, this is, wait, yung GCC, this GCC is my compiler. Okay, you might have installed it when you installed code blocks. So hindi code blocks yung ginagamit ko, I'm Visual Studio because I'm using the Makefile, which is a more advanced thing to do. Ayan. So I feel like I'm more flexible if I'm programming in the terminal instead of code blocks. Pero yeah, beginner yung code block, so it's very good for beginners. Yeah. So GCC is the compiler that you have installed together with code blocks, and to trigger the preprocessor, I will put -e, capital E. And then I will just put the source code, hello world.c. Yan. So ito yung pangalan ng source code ko, hello world.c. Yan. If I enter this, see what happens. So that is what the preprocessor does. Now, can you compare this line of code to the one written in the source code? What is the difference? Guys, what's the difference? Yan. Umikli. Paano siya umikli? Ano yung nawala? Comments? Ano pa yung nawala? Meron pang nawala. Mga include. Okay. So, yan. Yeah. Mga int and int. Nandun pa yung int ha. Include. Include lang. Yeah. Okay. So, ang preprocessor makes, pinapaikli niyo yung code nyo by removing the preprocessor directives or the include. Ibig sabihin, na-incorporate na niya yun. Ano pa, tinatanggal niya rin yung mga comments. So, sinasabi niya, sige, pre-process natin to. Hindi naman to kailangang basahin ng computer ko. So, ayan. So, tinatanggal na niya. Okay? Next, what I want to trigger is the assembly language. So, yung kanina, before compiler, meron tayong assembly language. So, if you want to explore more of this, siguro mas dinidiscuss nila to sa computer engineering. But in order for you to have an appreciation, I will show you it. So GCC, in order for you to make the assembly language, you say S, -S, and then say the, and then say the source code. Ayan. Joke. What happened? Mali yung na-trigger ko. No? I'll delete it. Sorry. Dapat capital S pala. Capital S, hello world.c. Yan. So, meron na akong, nakita nyo to? Hello world.s. Okay? So, tignan natin kung anong laman yan. So, this is what happened, what is read by your assembler. So, ito yung nire-read ng isang component nyo sa CPU. Okay? Ayan. So, dati, nung wala pang mga programming language, ganito sila mag-program. Okay? Can you imagine yourself doing this noon? So, ayun. Kaya inimbento yung mga programming languages para maging mas human-like yung programming. Okay, so this is called assembly language. So, .s. Next, I want to trigger so -c naman. Hello world.c. Sige. What does this do? GCC-C. Kita nyo ba? GCC-C hello world. Okay. So anong ginagawa niyan? Sige, let's enter. So nakapag-produce ako ng .o file. Okay? Sige, ano tong .o file? Ayan o. The file is not displayed in the editor because it is either binary or an unsupported text encoding. Okay? So binary siya. Sige. Do you want to open it anyway? Let's try to open. Ganyan siya. So it's now a binary code. Binary to kaso hindi mabasa talaga ng computer nyo. Okay? Hindi mabasa ng editor. Pero this is a machine language na. So .o. Ito yung sinasabi na object code. Okay? Or object file. Okay? So .o. Ito na yung binabasa ng computer nyo. So this is not human-like at all. Hindi mo na maintindihan siya. You know. Okay? And then what happens after the .o, sige, trigger natin GCC-O. Okay. Ano yung -o nyo? .o sige, if I run this one is to make an exe file. Exe file. Sige. Tanggalin natin yung mga exe file. Delete. Okay? Tanggalin natin yung exe file. So if I enter this, Ay, no input files. I guess, wait lang. GCC dash o hello world dot hello world dot c. What is happening? Dash o hello world dot c. Ayan. So may exe file na. So what happens here? Sorry, GCC, I trigger GCC, the compiler, and then I said dash o, and then make an executable file named hello, yan, hello, with hello world.c as the source code. So this makes an exe file, executable file. Now, what I will do is run it. In order to run it, I'll just do this one in the terminal, hello. So ito yung pangalan ng exe file ko. And let's see if it runs. It does run. Okay, it does run. Actually, I'm not expecting it to run, but it did. I'm not sure why. Pero may gusto kong i-show dito eh, na kulang pa itong code na ito eh. But I guess, see, but I guess, kasi dapat ang gusto kong i-show sana is hindi siya mag-run, pero nag-run siya. I guess hindi masyadong strict yung compiler ko. Pero in order to really compile it, you need to input this one, -lm. So this is the link to the math library. So this is what happens to the linker. Okay? But it ran, I guess automatic na siya. Because this is usually yung error ng mga programmers eh. Hindi nila ini-include, nililink yung library. So again, it ran. And it print hello C25. Okay? Yan, minsan hindi siya stricto. Okay? So again, here, this is the compiler. -o means that you want to make an executable file. This one is the name of the executable file, so hello.exe. This one is the name of the source code, hello world.c. And this one is the linker to the math library, so -lm. And then to run it, you just type period dash hello, or the name of the executable file. Okay? Masyadong overload na siguro ito, just for you to for me to showcase yung build process. Okay? But of course, if you downloaded code blocks, what you just do is to press F9. Just press F9 or just press something yung build and run doon na option. So everything, every step of this one is automated. Okay? Hindi niyo na kailangang i-type ito. Ayan. So let's go back to the slide. Ayan. So I have showed you what a source code is, yung .c, yung header files, and how to make an object file and how to make an executable file. Also how to link libraries. Yeah. And then how to run the executable file using the loader. Okay? May questions ba doon sa process na yon? May questions doon? Wala. Okay, so I can proceed now. Let's proceed. Uh, I discussed this. Yan. I discussed this, so I suggest you just read it. Pero basically, yun lang yung discuss ko when I made the presentation of my code and how to build it. Okay, so yung loader, additional discussion is that it taps into the random access memory of your computer. Okay, or yung RAM nyo. So make sure if you're running a lot of programs, kaya may requirement for RAM for yung mga games kasi masyado silang magamit ng RAM kasi they're using the graphics, no? Or any application. So you need to have a sufficient amount of memory or random access memory. Don't worry, in this subject, you will just only build very basic programs that has very limited usage of your memory. So no worries if yung RAM nyo is less than 2 gig. Okay pa, kagana pa, pero mabagal lang. Ayan. Okay, so this is what I did earlier. So I use an editor. In this case for you, it's CodeBlocks, but you can also use Notepad. Okay? Basta basta isa-save niyo siya as filename.c. Okay? Hindi naman strict yung GCC or the compiler. The GCC is the compiler in whatever editor you want to use. As long as its name, file name that the file name .c and you follow its syntax. But the problem is with Notepad. Problem with Notepad is wala siyang debugging systems like CodeBlocks or other environment. So baka mahirapan kayo in programming and seeing where the errors are. Okay? And again, gaya ng ginagawa natin kanina, the compiler, in this case, the GCC, yung GCC na kanina ko pa sinusulat doon sa terminal, reads your source code in a top-to-bottom approach. So it starts from the top and goes line by line to the bottom. Okay? Then the linker combines object programs with the programs from other libraries. So in this case, yung ginawa natin kanina, I tried to link your source code or your object programs that you made to the math library. So LM-LM. Okay. I think yun lang naman yung library na gagamitin nyo for most of this SEM. But there are hundreds of libraries na developed na ng mga programmers. So you just search it if you want to use it. But in the span of CE25, I think what you're only going to use is the math library. Yeah. And then the loader places the executable file in the memory ready for execution. Okay. Yan, naintindihan ba yung basic basic build process na medyo computer engineering? Don't worry kapag hindi masyadong naintindihan. The main takeaway siguro for you is that you can build and run and knows what happens. Okay? Maganda rin sigurong skill yung pinakita ko kanina, yung you can access the terminal and really manipulate the files, no? Kaya nyo mag-produce ng assembly file, kaya nyo mag-produce ng object file. Okay? Yan. Tokens. What is a token? let's move on. So a token is here, smallest individual unit of a program. It can be an identifier, a keyword, a type specifier, or a special symbol. Sige, isa-isahin natin itong mga tokens na ito. So, here is a keyword. Yan. Keyword muna tayo. Keyword. So, what is a keyword? In C, there are only this keyword. So, how many are these? 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 4, 32. Yeah. There are only 32 reserved words or keywords in C. So it's very, and this makes it, wait lang guys ah. So this makes it very flexible. Unlike other programming language na ang dami-daming reserved words. In C, you have to go to the basics of the basics in order to produce a program. And I think it can be an advantage, it can be a disadvantage. I don't know for you, but I find it advantageous for me because I can tweak a lot of things in my code, okay, with just these 32 keywords. Para bang there is elegance in simplicity. Yeah. So, elegant yung C for me. Okay, so nakita na natin kanina yung char, tama? Char. Ano pa yung nakita natin kanina? For, if, int, ano pa? Double. Nakita na natin yan kanina. Return. Yes, nakita na rin natin kanina. So, yeah. I guess hindi ko pa nasasabi kung ano yung ginagawa ng return. Basically, it is what the program returns. Wait lang. I'll show you yung kanina. This one. Process return 0. So ano ba yung last command ko dito? Return 0. Ayan. Process return 0. This one is an optional thing, but kasama yan sa mga common practices ng mga programmers in C, in which after you have done everything, here, you write return 0 so you know that your program successfully ran. Okay? So kapag sinabi yung process return 0, you have a hint that, well, na-reach niya yung last process sa program ko. Ayan. Okay. Again, yung char, character, ano pa, if, alam niyo naman yan, for, int, integer. Okay, special symbols, commas. Okay, so that is a special symbol. It is used to separate items on the list. And also semicolons are used to mark the end of a C statement. Ayan. So, ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-common na errors ng mga nagsisimula sa C because they forget to write semicolon after a line or a statement. Okay, so don't forget to write semicolon. Special symbols, more special symbols. More special symbols is here. So postfix and postfix. Okay. Prefix. What else? These are math symbols. What else is here? Okay, this one, double equal sign, versus the equal sign. Okay? So, ang double equal sign just evaluates if the two values that you are comparing are equal. The single equal sign assigns something, assigns the right value to the left. So what does this mean? Balik tayo dun sa isang code. Balik tayo sa isang code kanina. This one. So, I guess. Ito na lang siguro. Ayan. So in this example, single equal sign means assignment. So what this does is it assigns 26, so the right value, to the num. Ayan. So it assigns 26 to num. Okay? Ito rin, assignment value din ito, but in this case, shortcut siya. So it assigns num minus 1 to the right value. So num. Anong difference doon sa double equal sign? So this, in this case, this doesn't change. This doesn't change the value of I. Rather, it just compares. It just compares if I is equal to 2. Okay? Naintindihan yung difference nila? So, single equal sign is assignment. Double equal sign is compare. Comparison of equality. Okay? Sige, let's proceed. What else? What do you want to know about here? This is end, bitwise end. And double logical end. Okay? Sige. You can see a lot of this in the code examples. So, pag sinagutan nyo yung mga worksheet, makikita nyo yung mga differences ng mga ito. No? So, I hope you find time to open the worksheet. Ayan. See identifiers. Okay, so identifiers can be variables, functions, labels, etc. Okay, one rule of an identifier is that it should start with an alphabetic character, either uppercase or lowercase, or an underscore. So it cannot start with a number. Okay, so I think yun lang yung isang very prominent rule. An identifier cannot start with a number. Also, it must not be a keyword. So hindi nyo pwedeng gawing name of your variable itong 32 keywords na ito. Reserve yan for C. So wala na yan. Also, must not include the special symbol or operator. Okay? So bawal din yung mga ito. Ayan. So ano ba yung example ng identifier na ginamit natin? Let's see. Let's go back to the code. Ito, this int I. I is a variable. So it is an identifier. Okay? What else? Hello. Hello is an identifier. Okay? What else? Num. Num is an identifier. So these are the names that you want to manipulate in your program. Yeah. So those are identifiers. Makes you identify a variable, as its name suggests. What else? Comments. Comments. A comment is a sequence of characters that is ignored by the compiler. So I've shown this earlier na wala yung comment after ko mag-preprocess. Tama? So that is what preprocessing do. It deletes the comments. And uh, and uh, and includes the preprocessor directives. Ayan. So a very good code etiquette is to use comments to document your code. Why do we have to why do you why do you think we have to document our code? Anyone? Sige, para makapag-ano tayo. Why do you think we have to use comments to document our code? For easy editing. Okay, ano pa? For easy editing. Para di malito pag magde-debug. Okay, yan. Okay, tama yung mga sagot, no? For easy editing, para di malito pag magde-debug. And if you are going to pursue a job or a work involving programming, you're not the only one who is programming some big program, no? In programming a big program, you have to have a team. And in order for your teammates to understand what you're saying, syempre dapat maganda yung documentation ng code mo. Sa ngayon, ang maisip ko lang, para madaling i-check ni sir. Yan, para madaling i-check ni sir yung yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin, para madali kong i-check, no? Pero yun nga, in real life, you need to document your code in a good way in order for your teammates to understand what you are saying. Kasi kahit na high level language ng C, there are things na hindi pa rin ayaw pa rin nating magbasa ng buong C code nang wala man lang comments. Okay? Mahirap siya basahin. Okay, white spaces includes blanks, tabs, and new line characters. So may tanong dito, used to separate special symbols, keywords, and identifiers, and makes the program more readable. Again, this is an etiquette for us. Please write your code with white spaces or with separating symbols, keywords, and identifiers. Please make your code more readable. Yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin. May tanong dito. Sige, balik tayo ulit dun sa code na ginawa ko, no? Ayan. Sir, or balik na lang tayo dun sa, wait lang ah. Balik na lang siguro tayo dito. Okay? Yan. Sir, pwede bang tanggalin ko na lang ganyan? Sige, let's have this program not readable. Ayan. Ayan. Ganda, no? Sige. And then let's write. And as you can see, I still build it. Wala siyang effect, no? Wala siyang effect. And then it still run. Still ran. My problem is, gusto niyo bang basahin yung ganitong code? Tanggalin din natin yung comments para talagang high level. Let's see if this still works. I think this will still work. Yeah. I think this will still work. Yeah, it still works. But the problem is, ayaw niyong magbasa ng ganyang code, tama? Crowded po. Okay. So, it's not a very good code, right? Now, how to fix this is, of course, make it more readable. Yan. Make it more readable. Huwag niyo nang bahirapan yung magbabasa. Yan. By utilizing white spaces. Yan. Yan. It looks better, right? It looks better. Now, if you run this, yan, it still works. So please utilize white spaces. Yan. Next, data types. Okay. Moving on to data types. So ito yung sinasabi ko kaninang, okay, there are three types. There are three data types. One is simple, structured, and pointers. We're going to discuss structured and pointer data types in the last programming module. But in this case, in C25, we're going to focus ourselves with simple data types like integral and floating points. So yung int kanina, yan, int deals with integers. Floating point deals with decimal numbers. Okay, yung enumeration, this is a user-defined type. We're not going to deal with that for now. We just included it in the slide, pero we're not going to deal with that for now. Okay, ano ba yung integral types? So nakita nyo na kanina yung char, tama? Nakita nyo na rin yung int. So char is a character. Okay? Dali namang tandaan. Char character. Int is an integer. Okay? Ano yung bool? So this is a computer language thing. Bool has a value of either true or false. Okay? So, pwede siyang maging true, pwede siyang maging false. So dalawa lang yung value niya. So those are the integral types. So modifiers, meron tayong signed, unsigned, short, and long. So sa signed, ano ba yung signed? Merong sign. So yung integer, pwede siyang maging positive or negative. Yung unsigned, wala siyang sign. So yung integer, yun na yung value niya. So you can think of it as puro positive lang. Pero it doesn't actually have signs. Short and long just tells you if you want to modify it, yung default. If you don't want to use the default memory allocation, then you can use it. So yung short and long. So it just tells you how much memory do you want it to use. Okay? Floating types deals with integers. Okay? So sometimes you want something that you want a variable to be an integer. Sometimes you want it to be a float. Okay? So kailan pwede ba kayong magbigay ng isang variable that you think should be in real life or in engineering or in mechanics that you think should be a decimal? I'll give one, force. So, usually dapat decimal yun, di ba? Tama? Ano pa? Money. Tama? May cents yun. So, dapat decimal yun. Ano yung pwedeng int? Age. Age int? Or you're saying this is so number of people, int, no? Number of people, wala ka namang 1.5 people. So Very good. You can also use int for just counting. Yung ginagawa natin kanina, we're just counting int. Tama? Kasi yung parang yung hello array, yung hello kanina, yung may 13 characters. So if you're counting or just labeling by counting, then you should use an int. Okay? So meron kang float, double, long double. Ang pinagkaiba lang nito is allocation again of memory. So void. So what is void? Void is doesn't have a value. It's a process. So we'll discuss more of this, yung void type, when we discuss functions. Okay? Functions. Which is in the next modules pa. Sige, next. Okay, I think this is readable naman. Ayan, no commas are used within an integer. Okay? Yeah, I also explained this. So it is used for logical values, true or false nga. Okay? And here char, we also saw this earlier. And the float. Floating data types for decimals. So again, ayan, float up to 6 decimal places. Yung double can up to 15 decimal places. Ayan, this is what I'm saying earlier. Yung pinagkaiba lang ng mga types is how much storage they require. Okay? So yung double has 8 bytes. Okay? Yung double has 8 bytes. Char has 1 byte. Int and float has 4 bytes. So imagine nyo, no? Ilan yung storage ng computer nyo? May 500 gigabytes ba? 1 terabyte? So how many bytes could it hold? So ang dami, no? Ang dami. And it's very good to imagine that your handheld cell phones now could handle more processes, could store more memory than the computer they had going to the moon. Diba? That's how technology progressed. Mas malakas pa yung computers nyo kaysa sa ginamit nila when they went to the moon. Ayan. So just for a perspective. Memory concepts. Ayan. Destructive, non-destructive processes. Actually, I discussed this when we're looking into the code, but sige, let's repeat it for you to reinforce the idea. Variable declaration. Ayan, so this is the usual syntax of variable declaration. We have the data type, and then you have the identifier. So ano yung example niyan? Ayan. So yung example kanina, meron tayong int num, di ba? Int is a data type and the identifier is num. You can also define more than one variable, just separate them by comma. Don't forget the semicolon. So this is the data type, these are the variables, the identifiers. Okay? Again, I discussed this earlier, yung assignment versus comparison. Tama? So, in this line, you declare the integer 1. Okay? You declare integer 1 as an int. So it holds 4 bytes. Now, you say that in this line, you assign 45 to integer 1. What happens in your memory? Ayan. Ayan. You can store value to a variable initialization. Okay, so you can also do this one. Instead of two lines, you can just make it one line. So pwede din itong syntax na ito. Okay, instead of two lines, you can make it one line. So this is called initialization. So variable names corresponds to location in the computer's memory. So after this line, okay, so the system will allocate 4 bytes of memory space. Bakit 4 bytes ulit? Kasi int type and it holds 4 bytes. The name the memory space integer 1 and store a value of 45 in the memory space. So ayan. So we can think of it as this is your one block of memory. In your memory space, name integer 1 and it holds the value 45. Okay. Sige, tingnan na lang natin yung code. So here, I assign a value, okay, I declare integer 1 as an int and it will hold 4 bytes and I will assign a value of 25 to that memory space. Okay? Now, if I say this line, integer 1 equals 45, what happens? What happens is it destroys 25. So destructive process. It destroys the value 25 and changes it to 45. So after this line, the value of that memory space will be 45. Nawala na yung 25. So it's a destructive process. Now, I declare another integer, int. I declare integer 2 as an int. So this is another memory space. So, ayan. After this line, the value of the memory space named integer 2 is equal to 72. Yan. The locations of integer 1 and integer 2 are not necessarily adjacent in memory. Okay? We'll discuss more of this when we go to pointers, which is the last module that you will have, wherein you can manipulate the address of the memory. It's exciting. Manipulation ng address. Pero more of that in the next modules. Now, here what happens? Int sum. So you say that a sum, the identifier sum is an integer, okay? And say assign. So single equal sign. Assign integer 1 plus integer 2 as the sum. Okay, so what happens? The sum is equal to 117. 45 plus 72 is 117. Now, ang tanong, na-destroy ba si integer 1 and integer 2? Nagbago ba yung values nila? Class? Nagbago ba yung values ng integer 1 and integer 2? No. Okay, tama. Ayan. So, hindi siya nagbago. Kasi hindi naman siya yung nasa left ng single equal sign. So, yung nasa left ng single equal sign is just sum. Okay? Yan. So, the values of integer 1 and integer 2 were used but not destroyed in the calculation. So, this is what we call the non-destructive process when a value is read from a location in the memory. So, yan. I hope that you can run this in your code. If you try to run this, makakopy naman ito doon sa example programs, no? And see what's happening. Ayan, so sige, let's just see. So declare month, declare float, yung month, assign 12 to month, assign 12.111.1 to expense, and assign income at assign 10,000.0 to income. Ano to? For the percent D-th month of the year, \n. So ano tong \n? Yung \n is new line. Okay? New line lang siya. So what should we expect this to print? So yung 12, no? So ang ina-expect ko dito for the 12th month of the year, \n. So enter. Yan. For the 12th month of the year, comma. Okay. Yun yung result niya. Next, the expenses were this P or peso sign, I guess, peso sign, percent LF. So, and \n, enter. The income was percent F \n. So, ano yun? Yung una na placeholder is expense. Yung pangalawang placeholder is income. So, let's see. Let's see. Sorry. The expenses were this and the income was this. So ano kaya yung mali dito? Bakit ito 12.111.099609? Eh 12.111.1 lang naman siya. If you can see here, percent LF and percent F. Ano ba yung pinagkaiba nila? This is actually for double, no? Double. Hindi ito for float. So to fix this, you should make this percent F lang. Okay? Or you can make the expense double. Okay? Double type. So, I hope you study this. Ayan. Sige. Gising ba kayo? Kaya pa? Kaya pa? Sige, I guess this, after this arithmetic and C, sige, tignan natin kung kaya natin. So, arithmetic and C, very basic lang naman. You know this, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. I think medyo new lang sa inyo itong operation na ito. This is called the modulo sign. So this is used in some math branch. I think in crypto, ginagamit itong modulo a lot. So remainder. So kunwari 5 modulo 3. Ano yun? 5 modulo 3. 2. Ayan, tama. No? Yan, galing. So bakit 2? Kasi if you divide 5 by 3, it's 1 remainder 2. Okay? So yan yan. So you just, ganun lang yung basic thing about it. Actually, you can also do 2 modulo 5, something like that. I'm not sure what the result is. I need to revisit it too. Pero ayun, there are rules. Yan, search nyo na lang kung ano yung rules ng modulo if you want to use it. Okay? Ayan, arithmetic operations will return a value with the data type of the operand with the larger storage. Integral division leads to truncation. So this is a very important concept, no? So make sure that you have the right data types that you will do the arithmetic operations on. Okay, let's see an example. So 2 plus 5, ilan yan? 9 times 2, parang elementary, no? Okay. So, ano yung pinagkaiba dito? 2 plus 5, 7. So, okay yan. 9 times 2, 18. 4 modulo 2 is 0. Tama? 0. Kasi walang remainder. Now, how about this? 5 plus 3.0. In other compilers, depende sa compiler na na-install nyo. Some are very strict. As in very strict na they will say that the data types are not compatible, ganyan. Kasi this one is an int, this one is a float. Tama? Integral type, float. Okay. So, ano kaya? Ano kaya yung susundin niya dito? Well, malilito siya. Kasi if this is an int and if this is a float, then both hold 4 bytes. So, returns a value with the data type of the operand with the larger storage. So, gaya nga ng sinabi ko, pwedeng mag-warning yung compiler nyo if you input some of this. So, just make sure that parehas yung data type na ina-add nyo. Okay? Again, this is very elementary naman. You know this, no? PEMDAS. Yan. Very elementary niya. Alam niyo na yan. Okay, so anong mauuna dito? Yan. So, yan yung mauuna. Pangalawa, yan. Pangatlo, pang-apat, plus, lima, yung minus. Then, i-assign niya dun sa Z. Okay? So, very elementary naman. Okay? Ayan, sige, let's study this example. So, what are the output for the following operation? What are the outputs for the following operations if all values are of type int? Okay, so type int, no? So, compatible naman lahat. So, here, ang mauna is 8 times 1. 8 times 1 is 8. Divided by 2 is 4. 5 plus 4 minus 4 is 5. Yan. Okay tayo dyan, no? How about this? So here, mauna yung nasa parenthesis. So sa loob ng parenthesis, merong 3 times 5. Okay? 3 times 5 is 15. Modulo 3, 0. No? Walang remainder. So 3 over 4 is 0.75 plus 0, so 0.75. Bakit 0? Naka-int. Tama, no? So, dapat int siya. So, susundan niya yung data type ng mga minumultiply, yung mga ina-arithmetic operations niyo. Okay? So, int siya. So, 0.75, ginawa niyang 0. So, just be careful. If you want your output to be float, make it a float. If you want your output to be int, so make sure na int yung gusto niyong result. Ayan. So, that's the main takeaway for this. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, what's happening here is, again, ito no, this is a very important lesson na, well, hindi naman programming per se, pero how do you debug this? What's the main error here? This will run, okay? It runs, pero there's something wrong in this code. What is wrong? What is wrong? Anyone? Anong mali? Anyone, guys? Hindi dapat int? Tama, no? Hindi dapat naka-int yung mass and weight. Because these are values that shouldn't be int. They have decimal places. Remember that you just use int when you're counting, tama? Pero these values shouldn't be int. So of course, if you put mass times g, so ano ba yung mass niya? So here, balik tayo dun sa output ng program. So input mass in kilograms, 5. 5, no? Tapos minultiply niya ng g. 5 times 9.81. So of course, may decimal values yan, pero ang in-output lang niya is 49 newtons. Okay, so mali yan. Again, yan. Dapat aware kayo of what your variables are, how do you represent them in real life. Okay? Ayan. What happens here? Ayan, again, these are all int. So sum is of percent %d. So here, enter the first integer, 64 and 5. So 64 plus 5 is 69. 64, the difference. Di na natin kailangan basahin code, no? Difference is 59. Product is 320. Quotient is 12. O bakit 12? Again, because naka-integer sila, no? Naka-integer. And the remainder is 4. So hindi niya ilalabas yung mga decimal kasi in the first place, yung quotient, ayan, quotient is an integer. This will be an integer. Okay? Ayan. Assignment operation is destructive. Okay? Destructive. Ito yung shortcut kanina. Minus, plus, divide, plus. Okay? So, this one, plus equals, is a shortcut for this operation. So, C equals C plus 3. You can do this, no? You can. This is not an equality sign. Okay? This is an assignment sign. So, after this line, the value of C will be the previous value of C plus 3. Okay? So, yan. Shortcut. If you want to use it, then you may do it. Yeah. Very common din yan sa mga nag-code. Para shorter, mas madaling basahin yung program. Pre-increment and decrement. Ayan, so, sige, tapusin ko lang very fast. Pre-increment is, they do the same thing, no? Increment and decrement operators do the same thing. So after this line, the value of A is plus 1. Okay? After this line, the value of A is minus 1. The difference though is, sige, tignan na lang natin yung code. Ayan, tignan natin yung code. So you declare a variable C, so C equals 3. And then print the initial value of C. So here, I expect that the initial value of C is 3. Okay. Now, C plus equals 5. So what happens? I will add a 5 to the initial value of C and assign it to C. Okay. So now, I will expect that the value of C is 8. Ayan, 8. Bakit 8? Kasi 5 plus 3. Ayan. After, illustrating pre and post incrementing. So, print lang niya. Again, I assign C equals 5. So, na-destroy na yung 8 dun sa memory kasi nag-assign ka ulit. So, destructive process ito. The value of C is again C equals 5. Is C equals 5. Okay? Printing the value of C equals %D. Ayan. C during post incrementing. So what happens here? C++. Ano yung ipiprint ng program dito? So, in post-incrementing, you add 1 to the value of C after the line. Okay? So, after the line. So, ibig sabihin, at line 20, ang value pa rin ng C is equal to 5. Okay? Ayan. C during post-incrementing equals 5. Now, C after post-incrementing, so after this line, the value of C is equal to 6 na. Kasi nag-add ka na ng 1 after that line. So, here I expect it to be 6. Next, C equals 5. Again, na-destroy na yung lahat ng values ng C in the previous lines and make it C equals 5. Printf, the value of C equals %D. Again, this will be 5. C during pre-incrementing. So pre-incrementing, the plus sign will be before the identifier C. Okay? Yun yung difference nila. So what happens? In pre-incrementing, you change the value of C at the line. At the line where you are pre-incrementing. So what is the line where we are pre-incrementing? At line 25. So at this line, you expect that the value of C will be plus 1. Okay? So you expect that the value of C is 6. Again, after pre-incrementing, parehas lang naman sila ng ginagawa ng post-incrementing, which is adding 1. It just matters when they add the 1. Ayan. So pre-incrementing, this will be equal to 6. Naintindihan yun? So ang difference, post, it adds after the line. Pre, it adds during the line. Naintindihan naman? Yes. Sige. We'll stop na lang dito, no? I'm sure medyo pagod na kayo. And I will just have a survey ulit. A survey. Before you leave. Okay. I'll share. Ayan. Please answer para alam ko naman yung feeling nyo. Okay? Anything that you want to say after this synchronous meeting? What do you feel? What could be improved? Or what do you want to do in the next sessions? Yan, relieved daw. Sige, yung iba. Motivated. That's good. That's good. Feel wise. Okay. You can also say any negative emotions. If you're worried, yan, excited. Ayan, excited daw. Hungry. Same. Lutang. Okay. Malinaw na. Medyo naiintindihan na. Hungry. I guess yung lutang medyo iba yung learning scheme mo siguro, no? So you are more into apply yung lutang hilo. I guess you will do better if you try some programs. You can always ask me naman by email or we can message in Facebook. Yan, sleepy. Okay, sige. Ayan. So, ang sked natin for this for the next session is still this. So basic C programming. I hope you read after. And I hope ma-reach nyo na yung ano no, ma-reach nyo na yung MP by this time. Or can you reach it? I don't know. Siguro hindi pa pala kasi we need module 2 before the MP. Pero siguro in the next sessions, I will try to give you a glimpse of what the MP is para rin guided kayo on how you want your learning to be directed, no? Ayan. Sige, I guess we can all eat lunch now. Okay, happy lunch. Thank you for attending this synchronous session. See you on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.